so damn hot. Milk was a bad choice.
You know he's actually right about that one. Hi, I'm Rachel Wallow with Ally Safety, and in today's video, we're going to talk about 7 real things you can do to prevent heat illness. Okay, so first things first, let's address the question of whether or not heat illness is actually a big deal. Just start off by asking yourself this. Have you ever had any of the signs or symptoms of heat illness? This could be something as serious as like early stage heat stroke, or something as simple as maybe after a hot day you come home with a throbbing headache.
It's too hot!
Feeling mildly lethargic until you cool down. But honestly, most of us have pushed the limits farther than that. Now ask yourself, have you ever known anybody else who's had heat illness? And chances are the answer is yes. They're just varying degrees of severity. So yes, heat illness is really, really common. Despite the fact that heat-related deaths are completely preventable, about 658 people in the US die from them every year. And that number is based on shaky estimations. The reason for that is hospitals and other healthcare providers aren't required to report heat-related illnesses to public health agencies. In addition, heat-related deaths are often misclassified or unrecognized. So chances are that number is actually pretty low compared to reality. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. But I've got 7 ways that you can prevent heat illnesses this summer. Number 1, know the signs and symptoms. A heat-related death is not the way to go by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like to think about it, but for the purposes of this video, let's talk about what that would look like. So it's going to start with heat exhaustion. Imagine you're working in the sun or in a hot environment and you feel hot and tired. Maybe you have a headache and a little nausea, some light muscle cramps, and even some dizziness. This is heat exhaustion. And if you get some shade, cool down, and rehydrate, you can still turn it around. But let's say you don't. You keep working because you're 2 hours away from leaving for that camping trip for the weekend, and you just want to get the job done. So your symptoms advance as you work. At this point, your body temperature raises past 103 degrees Fahrenheit, your skin gets red, hot, and dry. Your pulse is rapid, the symptoms from heat exhaustion just get worse, and eventually you stop sweating. Trust me, when you can't sweat, it sucks. It's at this point that you become unconscious. Very high body temperature can damage the brain and other vital organs. And now the heat illness can progress to attacking multiple organ systems, resulting in death. See what I mean? It's not a pretty way to go. There's no glory in it. So let's prevent it. Water, rest, shade, and training are the keys to preventing heat illness. Most guidance says to drink 4 8-ounce cups of water each hour in hot weather. I know what you're thinking. I don't drink that much water in a day, let alone in an hour. I am right there with you. But I challenge you to try just this once because it will make you feel so much better you will be shocked by it. Next, rest in the shade. Sometimes we all feel pressure to get work done, and no one wants to be the one on the job who's struggling and resting more than everyone else. The thing is, resting periodically can actually make you more productive. Have you ever been at work on a hot day and noticed you get like half as much done as normal? That's because the heat slows us down. I'm from Montana, and if you send me to Louisiana in August, I'm going to notice that I just can't quite move as fast as I normally would. It's natural. Our bodies take it easy in the heat. So give yourself periodic breaks to cool off. You'll work faster, and it's better for your health. The next key to preventing heat illness is to know if you're at risk. People at the greatest risk for heat-related illnesses are children under 4, adults over 65, those who are overweight or have pre-existing medical conditions like diabetes and heart disease. Also, some medications can increase your risk. Despite all this, we all hear those stories on the local news every summer where some kid goes to football camp or baseball camp and gets overcome with heat exhaustion and sometimes even dies. That's why it's so important to take this seriously, because sometimes you don't know who it's going to impact the worst. Next up, shift your shifts. What I mean by that is start earlier if it is at all possible. This is awesome for two reasons. One is you get off work earlier, and two, you feel better when you get off because you haven't been working as much in the heat of the day. It's really a win-win. The next most important factor is recuperating when you're off work. Now, I know a beer after work is so satisfying at the end of a long day, or going out to drinks with your friends in the sunshine is just an awesome way to enjoy a summer evening, and I am right there with you. But on hot days, we need to do this within reason. The thing is, alcohol dehydrates, and so if you're gonna drink, you need to be smart about it. Drink less than you maybe normally would, and hydrate as much as possible before the next day. Being dehydrated, or worse, hungover, is going to really increase your risk. Also, who wants to be hungover on a hot day? That sounds terrible. Now, that being said, we also need to talk about the other culprit in the room, and that is caffeine. Now, I know coffee is indispensable, amazing, delicious, the reason that some of us get up in the morning, but it also dehydrates. Whether it's your early morning coffee, Monster Energy, iced coffee, tea, pick your poison. It all dehydrates. I'm not gonna go crazy and suggest you cut out caffeine during the hottest part of the year, but what I would say is try to supplement the caffeine with something that actually will hydrate you. Dehydrating drinks are a bit of a problem because you feel like you're getting that liquid intake that you need, but you're still dehydrating your body. So try to match the number of cups of coffee you drink with water. The last part in this hydration section is replenishing your electrolytes. These are good salts that you lose when you sweat. The symptoms of low electrolytes are similar to those of heat exhaustion, like fatigue, headache, nausea, blood pressure changes, and low energy. Now, there's a common misconception that you need sports drinks to replenish electrolytes. And I'm not going to argue because that is a good way to replenish them, but a good diet of healthy whole foods is also effective. Personally, I just keep some packets of electrolyte mix in my work bag with me. The reason for this is you almost always have access to drinking water where you may not always have access to like a gas station or a store where you can go buy like a Gatorade or something like that. Wear light-colored clothing, sunscreen, and a hat for shade. Natural fibers like cotton and linen are going to be more cooling than synthetic fabrics. At the very least, avoid polyester and nylon because they aren't breathable materials. Workout types of clothing are also a good option as long as they're intended for summer use. My own favorite trick for hot days is to wear cooler shoes. Consider if you usually wear a heavy styled boot to work, getting a summer pair that's more vented. It will honestly make your day a ton better. Use an SPF 30 or higher with UVA and UVB protection. One important thing to note is that sunscreen degrades over time and also when it's stored at high temperatures. And by high, we're talking anything over 77 degrees. I'm not even joking. So don't use last year's sunscreen. And if your sunscreen has been in the sun or in your car for a long time, get a new bottle. Also, look for 99% UVA, UVB protection in your safety glasses as well. And lastly, wear a full brim hard hat because wearing your shade is awesome. Also, if you're one of those people that love to wear the cowboy style hard hat, I saw you coming from a mile away. You may not look cool, but you probably feel it.
Giddy up.
Next up, acclimatize. You need to give yourself about 7 to 14 days to get used to a new climate. If you work outside in the elements year-round, it won't be as hard to adjust. But if you're like me and you go from a cold northern climate down to a southern climate in the middle of the summer, you are going to find that your body is completely overwhelmed by the heat. For new workers, the schedule should be no more than 20% exposure on the first day, with an increase of no more than 20% on each additional day. If you're more experienced and used to the workload, the acclimatization should start with 50% of the normal workload on the first day, 60% on the second, 80% on day 3, and increasing to 100% finally on day 4. This is all according to the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. But take this advice with a grain of salt. And if you notice yourself having signs and symptoms of heat illnesses, go ahead and step up the production a little bit more slowly until you're fully acclimatized. If you go on vacation, as most of us do during the summer, you can usually reacclimatize to work in 2 to 3 days after returning, but remember not to expect to jump right back in at full capacity. Okay, those are the 7 real things you can do to help prevent heat illnesses this summer. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please hit that like button, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.